We're asked to multiply these two matrices together. And before we can get into the calculations of actually how to do it, we need to determine if we can do it. Some matrices cannot be multiplied by other matrices. And so we'll kind of get into that. The first thing we need to do is identify what type of matrix this one is and what type of matrix this one is. That will help us to determine whether we can multiply these two together. So here we go. This one, remember, whenever we're classifying matrices, we classify it by the number of rows times the number of columns. So there are 2 rows here, 3 columns. So this one is a 2 by 3. Now I changed the colors on all of these just to kind of help later on when we're actually doing our calculations. But this one is a 2 by 3 matrix. This one here we have 3 different rows and 2 different columns. So this one is going to be a 3 by 2 matrix. Okay, and this becomes important, and now that we've got both of those classified, we can determine if we can multiply these two together. If we look here, our inner numbers, if you will, if the inner numbers are the same, then we can multiply these two together. It states the number of columns in the first matrix must be equal to the number of rows in the second matrix. And you'll kind of see that as we start to go through actually how to calculate it. But that's the big thing, is if these two middle numbers are the same, then we can multiply these two. And what we'll find out is, then we want to concentrate on the 2 outer numbers here. This is a 2 and this one's a 2. That's going to determine what our answer is going to be. The answer will be these 2 outer numbers, okay? So this one, they're both 2's. That means the answer will be a 2 by 2 matrix. Alright, so now let's kind of look here. A 2 by 2 matrix is basically going to look like this. Okay, now we're going to actually start some calculations here. And the way that we do these calculations is we're going to multiply this row right here by this column up and down. And we're going to multiply each one of them as we go along. So this first one is negative 4. We're going to multiply that one by this 6 here. So negative 4 times 6. Then we're going to do this middle one here, 2 by this 2 right here. 2 times 2. And the last one is 6 by this 5 at the bottom. Now notice how I'm adding all of these. Once I multiply each one of these, I'm going to add up all of their products together. Okay, so I've got negative 4 times 6 is going to be negative 24. 2 times 2 is 4. And then 6 times 5 is 30. So I've got a negative 24 and 4 is going to put me at a negative 20. Negative 20 plus 30 would put me at a positive 10. So my answer here would be positive 10. I'm going to put that in the upper left-hand corner because that's where all of my calculations are so far right here. Now I'm going to move on to the next one. Now let's see. The next one is going to be, we'll go on to this one, it's fine. I'm still going to multiply this top portion here, this row, by this entire column right here. Okay, so let's take it. I've got negative 4, and this will be times negative 2. And you'll see how they're classified in red. That's to indicate that it's this negative 4. This negative 2 here is this 2 that's listed right here, this negative 2. Okay, and then I'm going to go 2 times negative 3. And then we've got to add that as well to the 6 times 2. Alright, so now we're just going to simplify all this. This is positive 8, excuse me, minus 6, and positive 12. Okay, so we've got a positive 8, minus 6, plus 12. That should give us a positive 14 for our answer. So for positive 14, we're going to list that right here. Okay, now we'll keep moving here. Now I'm going to multiply, see how both of these are on the bottom? I'm going to multiply what's on bottom here. And I'm going to do basically the same process here. So I'm going to go this row here by this entire column right here. And I'm going to write my answer right here. So I go 3 times 6. That's my first step here. So 3 times 6, you'll see the color coding here, the blue. 3 times 6 plus negative 4 times 2. Negative 4 times 2 plus negative 5 times 5. Okay, and 3 times 6 is 18. Negative 4 times 2 is 8. Negative 5 times, negative 8. Negative 5 times 5 is negative 25. So we've got an 18 minus 8, which would give us 10, minus 25 would give us a negative 15. And now our answer will go in the bottom right-hand corner because that's where all of our numbers are. They're resting right here in this bottom right-hand corner. Okay, so we've got one more to do. I'm going to multiply this bottom row here by this second column listed here. 3 times negative 2, that goes right here. You can see the color coding again. 3 times negative 2, negative 4 times negative 3, and then finally plus negative 5 times 2. Okay, so 3 times negative 2 gives us a negative 6. This one is a positive 12 and a negative 10. So negative 6 plus 12 would give us a 6 minus 10 would give us a negative 4. So this is our answer on this one, and each one of them will correspond to wherever all of my addition was in each one of them. So take a look at this, especially as my color coding. Hopefully that helps a little bit to try to understand where we're placing all of these. But the big thing is to make sure that the middle numbers have to match up in order to be able to multiply this, and our answer will be whatever the outer numbers are. That'll be our type of matrix answer that we need.